Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive today. I am Dave Valente, speaking to you live from the wild and or wonderful West Virginia, coming to us from the Queen Mary's land,
Yes,
Dan the Man Fishman,
yes,
and from
from
the
the county of Bonnie Prince Charles too.
Bonnie Prince Charles, yes, and from the 10 Seas, or the 10 of Seas. AJ, how you doing?
I'm surviving
Yes.
terrible Tennessee. Let's call it what it is, folks.
Yeah.
The ten
A
of
lot of
C's is the 10 of clubs, right?
could be.
Dude, what's with the Yankees hat?
I don't know, man. I've been sick the last week, man. It's amazing that I'm pulling a Willis Reed here. I'm coming off the bench, leg broken, all that good stuff. So
Is that Mountain Dew next to you, or is that Squirt?
that is Mountain Dew,
All
the
right,
official drink of the Political Deep Dive, Diet Mountain Dew,
right.
or your diet needs.
I mean, we're getting that big sponsorship money from them,
Yeah,
so
we are.
do the
All
baby.
yeah, they
Dude,
they should be giving me sponsorship money as much as I drink this stuff on the show, and as much as I pay for it now. Like it's really interesting. So down the road for me here in West Virginia,
Yeah.
at Walmart, 6 pack of these is $4.88. If I go up to Hagerstown, Maryland, which is maybe an extra 10 minutes for me, it's $3.88. I don't know what's going on in West Virginia that it's $1 more.
Let me put this in economics for you. Consider the value of a gallon of gasoline and compare it to soda. You are paying more for soda than you are for a gallon of gasoline.
Well, I've already got gas, so I mean,
The drink gives you gas. Dum-dum. You know, I'm sitting here eating celery. We can all make positive changes in our lives. I support you, David, to give up soda.
I think you could do it
Try going
because
back.
I just go right to cocaine at that
give
point.
me a. First of all, you've got Dan and I like super support.
Yep.
Yes.
Probably shouldn't go down that route. Just saying. Swapping one addiction for another doesn't usually work out super well. But I have quit smoking. I have quit drinking. I have quit eating meat. I quit Facebook in February. Haven't gone
You're
back.
just a quitter.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. I even quit. Yes.
So
But I love you anyway.
I agree with AJ. I have quit smoking. I've had 3 1,500 calorie days in a row, which I'm very proud of.
Oh,
Right
that's
on.
huge.
That's way under for me.
That's
And
huge.
uh, I've done some other things to improve my life here and there. I can't remember what they are. But dude, you know what? Tea is a good substitute for Mountain Dew. Still heavily
I think so
caffeinated
too.
and a lot healthier.
I don't know,
And
maybe-
Jean-Luc Picard was right about motherfucking Earl Grey. It's amazing. It's so good.
Earl Grey is good. And here's the other thing too. You can defeat Big T because what Big T wants you to do is to use one tea bag for each cup. But you can actually put one tea bag in a pot and let it sit a little bit longer, and you'll have a whole pot of tea from one tea bag. So I bought. I
wow.
confess I like Lipton. I know it's going to be. That's probably going to be the
okay.
most controversial thing that somebody's going to say on the show today. But at the beginning of the pandemic, I bought 3 giant boxes of 104 tea bags each, and I am halfway through. But I'll brew a pot a day with one tea bag. I confess, I learned that from my stingy grandparents, but it works. And so then I've just got a
There we
pot
go.
throughout the day, and then it's hot in the morning, but then it's cold in the evening. And if I like it to have it sweet, which I do sometimes, I use stevia.
Oh, I hate the flavor of stevia.
Don't get the crap stuff. Okay, the crap stuff like with the monk fruit or the orthol or whatever, that stuff's no good. But the other stuff, like just if you get the pure stevia, I think you'll find it a lot better. And then just stick with it a little bit too.
Don't do the oh god, what is the name of that stuff? The foods. the chip. Don't do that. The diet chips where they
Kale chips?
Olestra.
Oh, no.
Yeah, don't do that stuff. So one time, my wife probably won't like me sharing this story. So one time we went to Publix in Georgia, great grocery store, and we found sugar-free sherbet, orange sherbet. I love that stuff, and it wasn't like the orange creamsicle. It was like an orange flavor and addicting. Like I had a bowl of it. It was great. We slowly finished off one, and then one day we went to the store and we went balls deep in it.
Nice.
We got a carton each, and we just went to town on it. And the one of those ingredients was sorbitol, which means it absorbs nothing. Thank God we had 2 bathrooms.
Right. The big thing about it in Olestra is that they have these fat cells that are too big. They are too fat for your body to digest.
Yeah.
But that means that they are like grease inside your intestines. And I'm guessing that's where this story goes.
Well, I mean,
At least the market says, wow.
Thank God we had 2 bathrooms because I mean,
Yep.
it was like when I did the Go Lightly for my colonoscopy, which I have a colonoscopy coming up, which
Exciting.
is a reminder: go get your mandatory stuff.
Do you finish your story and then we'll circle around to the prostate health story?
Yeah.
Because I know AJ's got a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I spent probably the next 3 hours on.
Yeah.
And again, thank God we had 2 toilets in that house in that apartment because we would have died.
Yep.
Um,
So I also love radishes, Janice, and we have been pulling in a lot of radishes this week from the garden. And one of the things that we like to do with radishes is a whole radish soup. So if you've never had roasted radishes, they're really nice, very different flavor. Put them in a soup along with the greens and, then potatoes, because potatoes make every soup great. Boy, it's just a tasty soup. And actually, I like it hot, but I also like it cold, sort of as like a vichyssoise. And yes, I said vichyssoise in the politically deep dive.
wow, that's some bougie stuff right there.
Let's circle
What is
around.
a vichyssoise?
Vichyssoise is a cold potato soup. It's delicious. It's
All right.
especially delicious in the summer. And I like cold soups like a gazpacho as well.
Oh, I love a gazpacho. Yeah.
This vichyssoise, it's sort of a creamed potato soup. And then there's like a little, sometimes you'll grate some cheese on it. Sometimes like a little cream on the top, whatever it is, it's delicious. Back to prostate health, because that is a big thing that faces, a lot of people are facing. And I just saw an amazing interview with Eric Idle, who recently survived pancreatic cancer, which, as you may or may not know, is
amazing,
overwhelmingly fatal. The survival rate at 5 years is 4%.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. But so, do you have a history of pancreatic cancer?
Oh no, I'm getting a colonoscopy.
Oh, sorry. Do you have a history of prostate cancer?
Not prostate, no.
Okay.
But I've had issues with my prostate, so I've been getting. I get the test every time. I don't care, Look,
that's wise.
Stop being a baby about what your doctor does back there. It
Right.
is, that momentary pressure. 2 fingers. Momentary pressure. It sucks. But what sucks worse is prostate cancer.
Right.
Prostate cancer treatments and radiation and all that shit.
Yeah.
Getting it treated early is key. Same thing with colon cancer. We do have a major history of colon cancer in my family. So got to get that taken care of. So I don't care that look back there all you want. I mean, they're not doing anything that they're just sticking a camera back there.
Well, and so it's an interesting thing because there is people should ask their doctors, and the people should have a relationship with their doctor or primary. Let me rephrase that, with their primary healthcare professional. I personally choose to go see an NP instead of a doctor. That's my choice, but I find nurses listen better So, but tell them all the stuff and then say, what test should I be should I be doing regularly? Because for some guys, you definitely should be doing the prostate every year. Some guys, you can do the prostate every 5 years, depending on your age and where you are and stuff like that. And, there is an interesting thought now in terms for women in mammograms too, that we may have been over testing some people for mammograms because there's just not, usually you'll have a genetic precondition that lets you know if you need to do the test a lot of times. None of us are healthcare professionals except for AJ. So that means a third of us are healthcare professionals.
Yes.
But people should be talking to their healthcare professional about what tests they should be getting done with what frequency. Don't think, oh, I haven't had this test done in a long time. Talk to your healthcare professional. There may be new tests out there that you don't know about it, all sorts of stuff. And the most important part of that is having a conversation with your healthcare professional on a regular basis. Shouldn't be, I go see the doctor because I'm sick. Preventative healthcare. You guys, well, not you guys, but again, AJ, who's half the age of me and Dave. AJ's generation is probably all going to live past 100.
Oh God, really?
Well, it's
All with that look on our face too, every damn one of us.
well, it's interesting just because because healthcare is turning that corner where it's changing from an art to a science, and a lot of changes coming around. I mean, it's going to be a question of who can afford what and all that sort of thing, like things always are. But especially as we learn more about mRNA and things that we can do in the body with that, people are going to live a lot longer if you're smart and you take care of yourself. And then this goes for you and me, Dave. Ain't nobody fat live past 80. Just doesn't happen.
Didn't Tom DeLuise live past 80?
I don't know. But he got pretty thin at the end too.
That's true.
Well, in the discussion of healthcare, preventative health is always cheaper than discovering something at stage 3 or stage 4. I actually had a colonoscopy last year. I have a high risk because my dad passed of colon cancer. There were abnormalities found and removed, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
But those abnormalities could not have been seen any other way. Suck it up. It's a colonoscopy. You're not even awake for it. It's, and honestly, it can find anything else that's going on. If you're having any type of issue going to the bathroom, and the majority of Americans don't get enough fiber, so most of us are constipated or having the exact opposite issue because of stomach sensitivities. They can also look and see if there's any inflammation. They can help you feel better. That's not a terrible thing. And I'm actually scheduled for my first mammogram because I'm a big girl now, on June the 9th. So
Nice.
all about the preventative medication and healthcare. I do find it funny. I did work for a urologist for 3 years, and we did see a lot of men. Of course, we saw kidney stones and whatnot too, but the majority of, my bread and butter had to do with y'all. Um, as far as PSAs go, I don't think it's a terrible idea to have it on like your yearly, or let's be honest, most of us don't have checkups yearly. Most of us have checkups like every couple years or so. Don't wait until you're having problems going to the bathroom. Don't wait until you're having problems getting it up. Don't wait until you're having problems with swollen testicles. That's the urology nerd. Like, go ahead and be checked out. Go ahead and know what urologist you want to see for that matter in your area, because that is y'all's OBGYN. That is
Yeah.
exactly who you go to for every single one of those problems. Do not go to some random clinic to find out what's going on. Go to the person, go to the specialist, the person that's all that they do. Um, it will save you a lot of trouble. We would see a lot of people for botched issues
Mm.
or things that had been missed.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
had a VA patient that called that I was, was in the office, and he goes, "Man, you guys are just you must be booked out for months and months." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Because I've been trying to get an appointment for like a year."
Huh.
And I was like, "I got the call yesterday and put you on the schedule for today, actually." And the reason why is his PSA was well over 100. It's supposed to be under 4, folks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
hmm
That's
Yeah, that's
pretty
not
crazy.
Don't wait until you are having so many issues. Just go ahead and know who you're going to go to.
Right. And one other thing about that is that there are a lot of times you have to be your own best advocate. So
Mhm.
you need to, if you want to go in there and you can't get in, do what you got to do to get in, get stuff done. I, and on a personal story about this, when they found a fatty sarcoma in my mom's leg, and I knew the importance that they had found it early, but I knew the importance of early. And to make a long story short, there was a 10-day delay in getting it removed because there was a confusion at the hospital over, was the insurance going to call the hospital? Was the hospital going to call the insurance? And when I found that out, I'm like, "Mom, you have to get in there and you have to drive that. And, it sucks for you as a patient that you have to do it, but you need to do it." A year later, she died. And I will always live with that. Did that 10 days matter? Did it? Because, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So get in there, be your own best advocate, get your health care as soon as
Absolutely.
you can.
Yep.
Ken has mentioned something in the comments about he didn't have your friend passed away because they didn't have insurance.
Yep.
That is a really common issue. And I do want to go ahead and encourage people because hospitals do pro bono things. You just have to talk to the right people. Keep talking to them. And if it's not the hospital that's nearest you, they may have a program. There are programs out there. I had to advocate for a lot of patients, not just for procedures, but for medications. I don't know how many times I would fight with them for Lupron. It's a really common medication to treat prostate cancer. You do have to fight and demand the health care that you need.
Yeah.
It
Right.
shouldn't be that way, but it really, really is.
And I'll stick one more thing on that. If you were fighting for somebody else's, somebody that you loved healthcare, you would fight like a pit bull. You would never let go.
Mhm.
And what you have to do is remember, you're like, "Oh, it's my own thing. I don't care about it that much." Remember that you haven't told those people and they can't fight for you. So fight for them to save your life because your friends and your family want you to live. So fight for them to save your life. All right. That's our
Absolutely.
PSA for the day.
Yeah.
Good stuff. What do we got next?
All right. So
Let's
we were
solve the
going to
next
talk.
problem.
Yeah, we're going to talk about another problem that has been creeping up for years, and this last few weeks it's creeped up again. The idea of immigration, the free movement of people in the world. I think we're all pretty much of the same mind that freedom of movement is a inviolable human right,
Mhm.
and a lot of the arguments that we've
I'm
been
looking for my immigration shirt. Keep going.
oh, there you go. Uh, uh, we've been dealing with immigration for so long, and what's led to it reemerging now is that when Joe Biden ended the pandemic era restrictions, one of those was this thing called Section 42, which talked about detaining in place, keeping people across the border, not letting people across the border, detaining people in immigration camps and things like that. Um, that's still happening. Let's not sugarcoat anything that because this ended that things have gotten better as far as immigration goes, but um, it's really just a rebranding of what happened under the Obama administration, probably Bush administration, then Obama administration, rebranded by the Trump administration to be a lot more harsher sounding, and rebranded under the Biden administration to sound a little more touchy feely, gentle. This isn't detention; it's day camp. That type of stuff. But yeah, immigration has long been an issue that has been used by politicians on both sides of the aisle to demonize um, people coming here for a better life. People wanting to exercise their freedom of movement,
There's a couple
of
interesting things
determination.
for me about it. One of them is, do you know, or let's see if I'll quiz the audience. Which Democrat is very strongly against opening up the floodgates for immigration? I'll throw it out to the audience. I'll give you a hint. He wears fantastic mittens on cold inauguration days. I'll go ahead and go. The guy who hates immigration the most is, as a Democrat, hey, Facebook user, we can't see your name, so
Oh,
type your name
yeah.
in the comments. Is Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Now, Bernie Sanders isn't actually a Democrat, right?
I was about to say, I was like, I don't think of him as Democrat at all.
Actually, I mean, he ran for
To
president.
run for president,
Democrat.
he runs as a
But
Democrat. Yeah.
the name doesn't mean shit.
Oh, I know.
Right, exactly. Right. I mean, he will tell you, hey, Mike, what's up? Executive director of Mike is Texas guy, great contributor to one of the great remaining state parties.
Yeah.
So Bernie Sanders, who is a socialist, he will tell you he's a socialist. Bernie Sanders opposes immigration because socialists oppose immigration, because there is only one definition of socialism. People will tell you it's other things. Socialism really means the government controlling the means of production. That's it. Socialism has nothing to do with social welfare. People tell you that Sweden and Norway are socialist countries. That's
No.
bullshit. Those are
Yep.
free market countries. Socialism doesn't have a free market. It is the government controlling the means of production, right, Janice? Bernie's not really a Democrat. He caucuses with the Democrats. He's elected as an independent. He's a socialist.
Yeah, Democratic Socialist.
And the reason why he opposes immigration is because he believes that the purpose of the United States government is to protect jobs for Americans. He does not want you to have the freedom to hire whoever you want. Now, so there's an interesting thing about that. You know, you can certainly say America is for Americans, right? I personally believe that America is for everybody. If you want to say America is for Americans, you know, that's one thing. But the idea that I, as a business owner, can't be allowed to hire the people that I want to hire at my company, that's crazy. And in fact, it's especially crazy now with so many remote jobs. So, you know, in my personal life, I haven't made a big announcement, but I took a CTO job with a company recently, and we are offshoring our production. Okay. I am hiring an offshore development team because it's cheaper than it is to have people come into the United States. And there's just not enough people in the United States who would do this job. But I tell you, every one of those people in my offshore team that I've hired would love to come and live in America, where we would pay them $100,000 a year. You know, they wouldn't be on welfare or anything, but they're restricted. They can't get into the country. Those
Yeah,
are big,
the H-1B visas.
exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the people who want to support, who want to limit immigration, the question you have to ask first is, do you support socialism? Because that's socialism, plain and simple. Now, if you want to say, I don't care, I want to be a socialist, okay. There are certainly merits for socialism. Okay. I personally don't see them all, but if you want to call yourself a socialist like Bernie Sanders, that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's where immigration starts and ends for me, is should people be able to come to another country, any country, to try to improve their lives? And I say yes, because the borders of countries are just, artificial lines somebody made up.
I mean, to me, it's should we as a species, as human beings, have the right to freedom of movement and right to self-determination? And if the answer to those is no, then go on your merry way. But if you believe that in self-determination, the ability to choose your own path, to make your own destiny, and the ability to move and be able to be with the people you want to be, then I mean, you can't have these positions. And one of the things that we hear a lot from on the Republican side is, or even within the Libertarian Party, well, we can't have these folks come over because we've got a bad welfare system,
Right.
and we can't. I will tell you that that argument is probably one of the dumbest ones, because I mean that would be like saying, well, I would love to have everyone have Second Amendment rights, but we've got some bad,
Yes.
we've got some bad school shooters out there, so we're gonna wait until we kick that whole school shooter thing before we allow everyone to have to be able to defend themselves.
That's exactly it. Is it's not right to limit people's Second Amendment rights because of a few bad actors. It is not right to limit people's immigration rights because of a few bad actors. Are there
It's
people?
not even a bad actors though, because I mean, for the most part, immigrants don't get outside of schooling. Most of that's where they get most of their social benefit out of coming over to the United States. The children get schooling. They don't get a whole lot of, like, welfare benefits.
They don't get a lot of welfare benefits. You get emergency hospital care, uh, and
It's
other.
everything that everybody else gets, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the argument is that they're not paying the same level of taxes. Now uh, they pay sales tax for sure. There are a lot of undocumented workers who get paid cash and so don't pay income tax. But for me, that the answer to that is we shouldn't have an income tax. Okay, because everybody avoids it. I get paid cash every now and then for some of the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
I've
I
got a
try.
little. Yeah, exactly. I may or may not declare
IRS
it.
has entered the chat.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Right. At any minute the
Where's my
government.
refund?
Exactly. At any minute the government will cut my feed, and
Oh, there we go. Sweet Ed.
um,
Sneezed.
the but you're 100% right. People, there's so many good people who want to come to this country and work. And one of my favorite examples is you look at Katrina and how it destroyed New Orleans. New Orleans was rebuilt by workers who came in from south of the border.
Yeah.
And, they were happy to come in there and happy to work. There are people who want good jobs and should be allowed to pursue them. There are a lot of people who say, you know what? I get mad at unions because they tell people that I can't hire the workers that I want. I have to hire a union member instead of hiring a worker that I want. So, for example, teachers' unions. A lot of people tell you teachers' unions are ruining public education because you can only hire somebody who's a member of the teachers' union to be a teacher. It's wrong when any union does that, even if the union is one of 50 states.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm also second generation American. My wife is first generation. It seems consistent to me that the people who we want to be members of our country should be people who are willing to risk their lives to be free. Because that's what the American experiment is about. It's about being free. And it's not about anything other than that. And, the only argument that people make against the argument that people make against immigration is, Jasper made it a little bit here that, there's limited resources, water, stuff like that. It's true, although we don't really have a water shortage problem. We have a water distribution problem. There's plenty of water in Minnesota. The problem is where to do it. And there's a shortage of water in Southern California where they're growing strawberries in the desert.
Yeah.
Figuring all that stuff out. But you know what makes us figure that stuff out? A free market. The best way to have a free market is support a free market for everything, including labor. So let people get the jobs that they can. Let me hire the employees that I want to. And the government should stay out of immigration. I will cede to the government a little bit of a border inspection. Okay. I think it's reasonable to say we want to make sure that you are not bringing an incredibly infectious disease into the country. And it's reasonable to say we don't want to be a place for criminals to run to get away out of their country. Now, what does that level of inspection look like? I think, you enter through a port of entry and people there look. And
You can do that beforehand. You could set that stuff up beforehand. Like, hey, I want to come to the United States.
Exactly.
You contact your consulate or embassy and say, hey, I'm interested in moving to the United States. And then before you come to the border, you've already had that vetting happen.
Yeah.
The problem is the way and people say, well, that makes sense. Why don't we do that? The way the immigration system is that there's a limited number of slots that they have each year for immigrants to come from various countries.
Right.
So let's say you're a South African who wants to come to the United States and you don't have Elon Musk's money. You will put in an application at your embassy and it sits there and you hope that you get that some lottery system picks your name out of the, however many thousand people that are applying to come to the United States. And you're one of the, let's say 600 South Africans that they're bringing in from into the United States.
Now, the one exception to that, of course, is if you're rich.
Oh yeah, you can buy.
If you're rich and you start a business in the United States, you can come in. No matter.
You can do that for a lot of countries.
Yep.
You can buy your citizenship in a lot of countries.
Yeah. Well, and I will add one other thing on top of that. There was a great article in the Post, maybe a year ago, about a woman who was a PA, a personal assistant to a billionaire. And one of her comments was, lots of things surprised me about the billionaire lifestyle, but perhaps the one that surprised me the most was billionaires don't use passports. We were flying to Davos in Switzerland and we got to the airport. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot my passport. And my employer's like, you don't need your passport. I'm like, we're going to Switzerland. We're leaving from New York. They got on, flew, got off the airplane, a private airport. Nobody asked you for a passport.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to immigrate to the United States for and a lot of people know this, but we are huge in Bangladesh. We are the #1 American podcast talking about liberty issues in Bangladesh. So for all of our Bangladeshi friends who want to come over, if you've got money to invest in a business, that's the easiest way to immigrate. But the next easiest way
to invest in,
come in on a student visa and then just stay.
Yeah, but that's dangerous. So when I was at Kennesaw State University, nicest person you would ever meet. She was from Morocco, in on a student visa. So she was in Atlanta for several years, like 7 years, while she was getting her degree. She was working and going to school, and at one point she had moved during her process while she was in school, and every once in a while the INS will send a please respond to this to let us know you're still in the country to apply for extension to your student visa. It didn't come to her. Her lawyer failed to reach out to her once it happened. And 2 months from graduation, she was thrown in to
Wow.
into prison.
Detention cell.
Yeah, into a detention center.
That sucks.
Senator Johnny Isaacson was calling on her behalf. Max Cleland, I believe, was a senator at that time. Maybe it was Saxby Chambliss. Were calling on her behalf. The president of the university system. Just it was an honest mistake, and they kept her in detention for 2 months. She missed her graduation.
Brutal.
They finally let her out and said, "You have 6 months to finish your degree, and then after you finish your degree, you are banned from the United States for 10 years."
Yeah.
And yeah, she graduated and was on a plane that next day, leaving the country. She's been in England ever since. She's never come back to the United States, and she doesn't want to come back. Yeah, I don't blame her at all. So overstaying a student visa, if you can lay low, that works. But if you are, if you accidentally don't know that you're being wanted at that point, then
Right.
you could get
Right. If you don't know enough to lay low.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I tell you what, Ken, I've been to a bunch of national conventions. I'm not big time enough to not wear my lanyard. I look forward to the day. Although I don't think I'm ever going to another national convention.
Yeah. Even though the next one's like in our backyard, but
it is in our back. Well, maybe I'll go to protest.
Yeah. I think we should have the unconventional convention, and we could do it at Freddy's Beach Bar across the river in Arlington.
Yeah,
it's a great gay bar, drag review, all kinds of great stuff. So,
Dave, maybe you and I should go in drag to the national convention and
there we go.
Read stories.
Yeah,
I mean, by any hope, my cup size will be down to a B by then. So,
well, hopefully my cups runneth over.
Nice. All right. What do we got next? Did you want to do more on immigration? I mean, it is interesting. I'll tell another immigration story to put things in context.
Yeah.
So the last time I was in Dave's home state of New Mexico, I was there. Our good friend Tom Mann, who I hope is watching the show,
Mammoth legend,
organized a thing. We had a donor in the Libertarian Party who gave us these pins, and I kept one for myself. I did pay for it, but we gave them to people to put on their clothes, little statues of liberty, when they went to have their border interview. And so we went down to the town of Deming, New Mexico, where people were getting in who were claiming asylum, and the town was sorry, I saw that
comment from Hody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. In fact, I'm gonna that one.
Please do.
So we are yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Would the stain be in the front or the back?
I think both.
So we went down to Deming, and there was something amazing going on in Deming. Border Patrol was dropping off people who'd been approved for asylum. Oh, and I do want to circle back on one other immigration topic. And the town of Deming said, you know what? We're just going to take care of people. In fact, what happened was they just dropped them off at the McDonald's parking lot in Deming. And the first guy who found them there was the sheriff. And the sheriff went up and tried to speak to them. And these people did not want to speak to law enforcement, so they didn't say anything. Even though the sheriff spoke fluent Spanish, as a fair number of people in New Mexico do. Mm-hmm. He went and got the priest from the local church, woke him up. That guy came down. They said, explain the situation. And they're like, our town wants to help you. So they went to the National Guard Armory and opened it up. And here we go. There's a lot of emergency cots in here that we use for other things. We're going to set them up, and we're going to start working on things. And next thing you know, Walmart donated stuff. The Mormons, who are experts in long-term food storage and stuff like that, donated things. Private funding was able to help all of these people. Part of what we were there to do was to go talk to people in Mexico. So we drove down to Paloma, is the town right across the border in Mexico, which means dove, by the way. And we met a group of 5 people who were living in the fire station. So the fire chief said, what we'll do is we'll keep the fire trucks outside of the station and you guys can stay inside the station. And so we met the people there, and 3 Venezuelans and 2 Cubans. And I thought it's really weird. These Cubans, and these were people who'd been in the big march up. I can't remember exactly what it was called. And it was, Cubans, how do you get there? Well, apparently it's difficult to leave Cuba to go anywhere but to another crazy country. So they went to Venezuela and then joined the march. And the reason they went, it was a father and daughter. And the daughter had caught the eye of a local official. And the father's like, yeah, we got to go. That's it. We just have to go. So they walked, and people can look at their maps, from Venezuela to New Mexico. It's a brutal hike. And where it gets really bad is that, again, look at your maps. It is impossible to drive from North America to South America because there's a stretch of jungle between Panama and Colombia that is so incredibly dangerous that nobody has ever built a road through there. It's run by gangs and stuff like that. So these people marched through there in a gang en masse, but the gangs would show up, people with guns and motorcycles, and say, we're taking that person right now. That person now belongs to us. And if you don't give them to them, we're going to shoot everybody else. So lots of people get kidnapped along the hike. In fact, people will disguise themselves so that they don't look like they would be worth kidnapping. Then they get to the Panama Canal. And of course, they can't legally cross the Panama Canal, so they're going to swim. But if you were leaving your homeland for forever, you would bring the valuables with you that you could, right?
Yeah.
Gold, silverware, metals. And if you're not a strong swimmer, you're suddenly out there with 15 pounds of metal. A lot of people drowned swimming across the canal to try to be free. The hike continues. They get harassed along the way. We met these people at the borders. They were waiting for asylum. And the father said to me, he's like, we didn't come here because we want to make anybody's life worse. We just want to make our life better. I'm like, man, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Oh, so then the last thing I want to say, though, I do approve of, and it was, I can't remember who said this, Jasper who said it, the transport of people who come over the border to the northern cities. It is unfair that the South bears, the border states bear the burden of that. Go ahead, AJ.
All right. If there is a plan in place, otherwise that's straight up kidnapping and dropping people way the hell where they didn't mean to be. So you're not talking about the way that
I'm not talking about
stupid Southern
involuntary
bullshit
stuff,
has happened.
but
Okay.
if you had told people we're going to take you to New York City or we're going to take you somewhere else, I think many, many people would do that. And it is, I do think that it is unfair for the states to bear the burden of, this thing that is a national crisis. New York is just as equipped as, in many ways, more equipped than Texas. And the fact that New York, after 3 months of busing people in, said, oh, we can't take any more. If that's what New York is saying, what the hell do they expect Laredo, Texas to do?
True. I mean, I would, I want it to be a voluntary thing. Tell us where you want to go.
Yeah.
We'll send you there. Honestly, I know that a majority of my state in West Virginia don't want immigration, which, you guys are 1,000 miles from any border, so shut
Right.
up. But this state has also been hemorrhaging people for the last 2 decades. We need population. We need people coming here who are willing to work, ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Creating businesses, putting a goddamn taco truck on every fucking corner, which I was promised that shit with Hillary Clinton.
I've told
That was
that I've told that Maine story a couple times, but tell it once more. For people who don't know, and you won't know unless you live in New England, there's still a lot of French spoken in Maine because it borders Quebec. But Maine is not the big city. Even the big city in Maine is not the big city, Portland. And kids are leaving.
Yeah.
So this town of Lewiston, which once held a title fight with Muhammad Ali, said, you know what, we're going to do something about it. And they set up an immigration plan where they invited people from French West Africa to immigrate to their town.
Huh.
And these people spoke French. And so all the older people who were despairing about the fact that they couldn't speak French with their kids or anybody else anymore, suddenly there's an influx of 1,000 people who speak good French, and they're able to speak with them. And what's happening now is that there's a crisis across the country of elder care, right? Elder people need care. Nobody wants to do it. There aren't people there. However, Maine is not struggling because a lot of these people who came in to the United States looking for jobs were able to get into elder care very easily, you know, just the basic stuff of it. So there's a lot to be said for bringing immigrants in who will supplement the workforce that isn't doing things that aren't getting done right now. Shut up, Craig. Lewiston is a tough town, but there's two places I love there. The Franco-American Society, where we did an amazing event with Bill Weld and Gary Johnson, and the it's not the Agricola, where the Libertarian Party of Maine has their conventions, and then there's the Armory where Muhammad Ali fought a title fight. But I agree. There's
they have or at least they used to have a hockey team called the Maniacs.
Really?
Yeah,
a good name for a team.
Lewiston Maniacs. Emphasis on Maine, but yeah,
Maniac.
Hody does make an interesting point because he says the borders do receive benefits from having, especially when it comes to like trade and things like that. Especially some of the cities like, let's say Houston, fairly close border city, but they major transportation trade hub. Los Angeles, San Diego, those type of cities do receive benefits from being that close to the border. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I do want it kind of evened out. I do think that we should, just like when we take in asylum seekers from other countries, that we start putting them in almost communities of interest. Like if you come, let's talk about like the folks who came from Iran during the revolution or after the revolution.
Sure.
They're settled in two cities, mainly two cities: Los Angeles, they call it Los Angeles, and Atlanta. Two massive Iranian diaspora populations there. It allows them to form their own communities, have a lot of support, that type of thing. That's where I would like to see a little bit more management on the immigration side. That, hey, if you're coming from Honduras, let's, West Virginia needs workers. Let's settle a large group of people in if they want to voluntarily, not making them go there, but giving them
there's also not all the states are created equal right now. A whole lot of them are very, very hateful, and anything that's, I don't know, below Illinois really is not suitable for fucking anyone right now. So I'm not sure that okay, we can ship them. We can ship them wherever the fuck, but we got to be honest. They're like, all right, if you're going to Florida, this is what you're going to face. If you're going to Tennessee, this is what you're going to face. Who's going to be honest with them? Because I'm having to leave Tennessee, where I have lived my entire life, because women and gays aren't people anymore. So, like, I'm having to leave. Who tells them the truth? Because the United States is not united. If you look at any map, you can pick out which ones are hateful and awful pretty quickly. They're all the ones that are down below, having all this problem with immigration. I've worked in a kitchen at Ryan's in Murfreesboro, which is the same city that MTSU's in. So we have a lot of immigrants. And there was a night that I was the only English speaking person in the kitchen. And that was an interesting night. But we did it. We rocked it out. We did a great job and it was fun. The next weekend, I'm the only English speaking person in the kitchen again, but I'm down 5 people because there's been an INS.
Yeah.
It was the dumbest crap in the world. That makes no sense at all. They're taking our jobs. Okay, cool. No one else was interested in working at Ryan's.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, what jobs are they taking? Who worked these jobs before? Who did they knock down and be like, no, motherfucker, that's mine. This didn't happen. They are doing the jobs that they can do, that we will allow them to do, because for some reason we have it in our head that if you have an accent, you couldn't possibly actually do, I don't know, nursing.
I can't
Yeah, you could.
I can't recommend more. When people talk about they take our jobs, the Doug Stanhope bit on nationalism, it's on there. He's actually wearing a jersey that says Libertarian 08. He was running for president at that point. Um, but that clip of him talking about nationalism and people taking your jobs, I was probably one of the most dead on comedy bits I've ever seen. So Doug Stanhope, nationalism, look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic.
All right. What else
All
we
right.
going to talk about?
Well, let's you guys ready for the news quiz?
I'm ready for the quiz.
Let's do the
Okay,
quiz.
We got a lot of people here to play too, so
We do have a lot of people to play, but I do have to hide the chat for now.
So don't say anything funny for a minute.
Well, I'll try and bring up your comments as we talk here. Let's take a look at our context clues for the quiz this week. We see lots of devastation boats.
Oh.
We see the woman who won the Eurovision. Is that Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No.
No.
Who is that?
She is not allowed to
Other
wear
blonde
anymore. I don't know who that is. And is that the woman who won Eurovision?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she won Eurovision.
She's
Her
holding a thing.
second two-time winner of Eurovision.
Interesting.
But I can't remember her name. So
the floods are going to be interesting too, because I'm not sure where that is.
Yeah, I'm not either.
The place I know that had the biggest flood was Italy, because they canceled the F1 race in Emilia-Romagna.
Yes, they did have massive flooding down there. So
but that doesn't look like Italy to me. There's a bunch of
it looks more tropical.
Maybe. All right, let's find
out. It says product recall, powerful cyclone, a song competition. What do you remember from the last week? Number one, which U.S. state announced that a ban on TikTok this week?
Montana.
Yeah, Hannah, Montana.
The Big Sky State.
Which is stupid. All they're doing is teaching the kids of Montana about VPNs. And
it's not even that. I mean, it's so incredibly dumb. It says, first of all, potential fines of $10,000 per day for violators. Yeah, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
How do they enforce it?
Who knows?
That's the thing. Is all of the laws that are being passed? How exactly are you enforcing these things, folks?
Well, and then the other thing about it that's completely stupid is TikTok is also videos, right? So there's a web app. Are you not allowed to go to the website either? It's just,
I don't have TikTok. I don't have Facebook. But when y'all send me videos from TikTok or Facebook, I can usually view them. I can view TikTok more than I can Facebook, actually. But I can view them. Does that count? Am I going to get?
Yeah, you're going to jail.
Yeah, because Tennessee's going to follow up on that.
Yeah,
Tennessee's absolutely going to follow up on that.
Yeah.
Okay,
actually, you know what? Ken makes a good point there, and I hadn't thought about that. He's saying that it doesn't apply to users; they're going after big pockets. There are people who advertise on TikTok, and so that's an interesting thing. If they want to shut down the revenue source, and so if you're a Montana business and you advertised on TikTok, however, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. I can't imagine there's a lot of people who are spending a lot of money on TikTok advertising in Montana.
It very much is, Jasper.
But it's a really good point.
Yeah.
that is something that they could do.
It's
You have
hard
to-
though because we just went through another one where Utah's banning porn, and so in response,
I'm
in
sorry.
response, Pornhub blocked all Utah IP addresses, and I think
Yep.
that's what a lot of these companies will do is just block IP addresses. And in return, the next day, the most searched term on Google was virtual private network, and the hottest spot was Utah.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what people are coming up with because maybe we should talk a little bit about the VPNs that we're using. So I use ExpressVPN mostly. It's especially useful for. I'm a huge football fan, and I refuse to pay for Sunday Ticket, even though it's going to be on YouTube this year.
It's so expensive.
But for a much cheaper price, the NFL sells a package in Europe, NFL Europe, where you get all the games plus Red Zone and the NFL channel for like $400 for the entire year. So I get that, but I have to use a European VPN address when I do it. But it works great. So if that's what you're looking for, ExpressVPN is good. But I'm also a excuse me, a Google One subscriber. So I get an extra terabyte of disk space, and getting if you get Google One, you get a VPN for free.
Excellent. I just use the VPN that's on my Norton. So what I do that for
Norton.
so I'm learning Swedish, and if I want to watch Swedish television to help my language learning,
Yep.
if you go to any of the Swedish TV sites, they won't broadcast any of their Swedish language stuff. So um, I have to use my VPN to say I'm in Sweden, and then it shows the live programming. So kind of nice. It beats. Oh, I don't even know if I can actually subscribe to that stuff. I think it's just a pain in the ass trying to get any international programming. All right, question number 2. Which type of product was recently distributed to some U.S. stores despite a recall notice? Salad dressing, baby formula, ground beef, or whole milk?
I have no idea. Maybe the
Uh,
audience will know.
Yeah, anybody in the audience?
The
Purplish color.
I think
purplish
it's
color
baby
makes
formula from the
Yeah, I'm thinking
picture,
baby
but
formula or salad dressing, one of those two. I don't know that whole milk is.
it's the baby formula one is interesting because on Facebook, a friend of ours posted today that she didn't know that babies can't drink water, infants, I think under 6 months, and that's one of the real problems with formula when there's a formula shortage. Is people think, oh, you know what, I'm going to dilute my
water
formula,
it down.
and babies get sick, and that's no good. Nobody knows. All right, none of the audience knows this either. So
Thanks, guys.
yeah,
I said baby
why don't you guys
formula.
go watch another show? Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do
What I don't know. You want to go baby formula?
Yeah, let's do
That's
baby.
it.
Let's
All right.
formulate those babies.
Yeah.
Or
That's
I mean, sad, but still.
yeah, which is Gerber baby formula is distributed to stores despite a recall over possible contamination, according to the FDA. Company is encouraging parents to check any products they have at home to discard those that may be affected. How do you know?
they'll have a usually
The
when
serial numbers
exactly.
on recalls,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I'm
Well,
so glad mine are teenagers.
yeah.
I'm just so glad.
Well, I gave up baby formula for the.
Well, I was going to say Dave Gerber also issued a Mountain Dew recall.
Damn it!
If your bottle is green, then you're in trouble.
If your pee is neon green, you've got an issue.
All right.
Question number 3. Powerful cyclone hit Myanmar. So that's the answer to that question. What was its name? Cyclone Mocha, Cyclone Nala, Cyclone Mona, or Cyclone Nima?
It's not Mocha.
I actually think it is Mocha.
Shut up. It better not be, because that would be
It is.
racist. Nala is the bear from or the Simba's girlfriend. So it
Yeah.
can't be Nala. You think it's Mocha?
I think it's Mocha.
How could it be Mocha? Mocha's not a name.
I bet there are
Flavor Mountain
plenty of
Dew is
dogs who disagree.
All right. If you say Mocha, I think it's Mona. Flavor Mountain
Oh.
Dew. That's funny. They do that red thing, right? The extreme red or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
See, I think
if you drink right, Mountain
Jasper's-
Dew red guarantees that your asshole will become red afterwards.
yes. That's what
Well, I mean, they'll tell you
mainly-
during your colonoscopy.
Yep.
Um,
All right. If you think it's
Sorry.
Mocha, Dave, let's go Mocha. All right. Look at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be here all night.
Oh, wait. Well, wait. There's a word there that I don't know.
Mocha barreled into Myanmar's coast days ago, collapsing houses, bringing down telephone poles, and severely compromising communication lines in the conflict-racked Rakhine state.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think that's, I mean,
A geographic term?
probably.
Let's see.
conflict rack. I mean, would that be there's a war
And I
going
hate
on
when
already?
anybody gets racked. I mean, that sucks.
Like,
Oh,
you know,
so
there's
it
already
turns out
conflict, and then the storm come through and made it worse.
Rakhine is the name of a state in Myanmar.
Myanmar. Okay, so
Well, there you
there's a
go.
state there.
Right. And maybe they're Nebraska. What did
Not
Myanmar
on the
used to be? Question for the audience. What country did Myanmar used to be?
Oh man,
We'll keep going. I know you know, Dave.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Which country won the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest? Sweden, Ukraine, Britain, or Finland? I know this one.
It's never Britain. It wouldn't have been Ukraine. I'm going to
Yeah,
guess.
Ukraine was last year.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that it's Sweden.
It is Sweden. So Ukraine,
Nice job, Ken.
way to go, Ken. Good answer on the what did Myanmar used to be? And that is Burma.
If you change your mind, I'm the first in line. Feel free. Take a chance on me. Need me,
Yeah.
let me know. Feeling down. Sorry.
Yeah, so usually the winning country hosts the next year's awards. It was Ukraine last year. They had to actually hold it in Liverpool this year. But yeah, Sweden won. Loreen won for the second time, and this is the first. I can't remember who the other act is that's won it twice, but second act to win Eurovision twice. I think if Brandon Barzibach was on the was out there, he'd be able to tell us because he is a massive Eurovision.
Israel finished third, which is really surprising.
All right. Question number 5: which bank agreed to pay its shareholders $1 billion for overstating its progress in recovering from scandals? Skank of America, Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan Chase, or PNC Bank?
The picture doesn't help much, but I would guess Wells Fargo because they're the ones I know about the scandals.
I mean, Skank of America is awful, and I do see red, but it could be orange as well. So
You think it's Skank of America?
well, no, I'm seeing red in the background, but I also see a little bit of orange here. So that's Wells Fargo.
Fargo is red and yellow.
Oh yeah, it is red and yellow.
Red and yellow, kill a fellow. Red and black, bring him back.
PNC Bank, no,
Ken says ComEd.
no, that's not it.
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, let's do Wells Fargo because
All right, because they did have that big scandal.
that's
Yay.
winner, chicken dinner.
Wells Fargo had my mortgage for a while.
Yeah, PNC Bank has my mortgage. So, Wells Fargo agreed to pay $1 billion to settle a lawsuit accusing it of defrauding shareholders over its treatment of customers. Since 2016, Wells Fargo has paid or set aside billions of dollars to resolve regulatory probes and litigation concerning its business practices, like setting up accounts without
Exactly.
permission. So,
All sorts of bullshit.
yeah. Question number 6: which country completely shut down its airspace for several hours this week to replace malfunctioning electrical equipment? Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, or the Philippines?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either on this one.
So if we were going to guess, statistically, it's most likely to be Indonesia because that's the most populous country.
What's the biggest one? Yeah.
Right.
And by like area is the biggest one.
Yes. On the other hand, I didn't hear anything about it. And I have several news feeds. So I'm guessing it was a smaller country. I really have no idea. Come on, audience. Help us out here.
Ken
Ken.
gave us the
All right, we'll take it.
assist on that one.
Yeah. But no Googling in the future, Ken.
Yeah.
Bring the noise, but we appreciate it. We'll take it because we're on our way to a perfect score. And
Yeah.
practice makes perfect. Nobody's perfect, so why practice?
All right. So yeah, Philippines briefly shut its airspace in a bid to tackle recent airport outages. In this year alone, 2 major outages at airport caused widespread chaos with hundreds of flights cancellations affecting tens of thousands of passengers. Sounds like
Philippines is a popular destination for Americans to retire to. Large amount of English spoken there.
Large veteran population. In fact, it's the only country outside of the United States that has a
VA office.
VA office, and
because you can't really say outside of the country, right? Philippines used to be an American territory.
Well, it used to be. Now it's outside the country, though.
Yeah. But we got it from Spain in the Spanish-American War, which is
I don't think the regional office was open until after the independence.
Interesting. Well, it still makes sense. So, Philippines is if you're interested in something, you're thinking about retiring, look up American Retire Philippines. Bunch of interesting stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. You can live like a king in the Philippines. I've talked to a lot of people who've worked at that regional office there in Manila, and you can have servants and all kind. I mean, live
like King Philip in the Philippines.
Yeah. All right. Question number 7? Which city this week elected its first female mayor? Los Angeles, Jacksonville, Las Vegas, or Chicago?
It's not Chicago because Lori was.
Oh, I think it's Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
All right. If AJ thinks it's Jacksonville, I mean, her name is actually Jacksonville. AJ stands for actually Jacksonville.
Actually Jacksonville.
All right, let's do it. Correct. CNN projects that Democrat Donna Deegan will become Jacksonville's first female mayor. This marks only the second time in 30 years that a Democrat will win the office in Florida's most populous city.
What?
Jacksonville, most populous city?
That is some crazy shit. I didn't know that.
You know what? I bet you. I mean,
I bet that greater Miami is bigger, but Miami's bordered
metro.
By cities. Yeah,
the city itself is not as much because I remember one time looking at population numbers and cities around the Albuquerque numbers. That just didn't make any sense, and I think Miami was one of them. Like, I think it's just within the city, not the metro areas. All right, question number 8. The Supreme Court this week ruled that Andy Warhol infringed on a photographer's copyright when he created prints of which celebrity? Michael Jackson, Prince, Marilyn Monroe, or Muhammad Ali?
You said the name when you read the question. He recreated what?
Prince.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
It's an interesting case though because Kagan, in her dissent, ripped into Sona Sotomayor, which that doesn't happen. Those guys don't fight that often.
Nice.
She called her the B word. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, God damn! Holy shit!
There was fisticuffs.
But I killed a man with a trident.
It was a very harsh ruling. But looking at this one, no, I agree with the court, and I don't agree with this court on much. That is not fair use. That's like I took your picture and I painted a purple face and a red background.
Yeah.
And some guy liner.
Yeah. Pretty much it.
Supreme
Court ruled Thursday that the late Andy Warhol infringed on a photographer's copyright when he created a series of silk screens based on the photograph of the late singer Prince.
Question:
Yes.
why in the actual fuck are they doing this? He's dead. What could it possibly matter?
His estate. Money.
This is the dumbest crap. The Supreme Court. This is what they do.
Well, I
This
mean,
this is it.
the copyright issue is an interesting one. Right now, you've heard me say before, I don't support much IP,
Yeah.
but I do support copyright. I think that an artist, I shouldn't be able to, like, for a while, I was selling copies of Harry Potter and said that I had written them. That's wrong. I shouldn't do that. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter.
Dan's going to get taken off the air again.
Exactly. I shouldn't be able to take somebody else's work. But, and so the argument is, you know, but in this world that we live in now, right, there's so much sampling in songs, copyright stuff like that. In fact, there's another huge copyright case that got decided. I think it was this week, right? The Ed Sheeran one? Was that last week?
Last week, yeah.
Okay.
Twice.
Or 2 weeks
Last
ago.
week and this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Either way, why is the Supreme Court doing this shit? I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I hate the government so much right now, y'all. I'm so sorry. I don't know that they can do anything I like right now.
All right. Question number 9. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan alleged photographers dangerously pursued them for hours this week. Through which city? London, Amsterdam, Rome, or New York City?
New York City, but they made that bullshit up.
Yeah. For people who have whined about the attention that they get, they are so attention seeking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan were involved in a car chase with paparazzi in New York on Tuesday that could have resulted in catastrophic outcome, their spokesman has alleged.
Yeah.
Look.
So the mayor of New York put it best. He said, so they said that they were in a car chase that lasted hours in New York City.
Yeah, in New York City,
Were they stuck on the GW? What happened?
It kind of reminds me of that. There's that this hour that has 22 minutes is Canadian comedy, where it's a recreation of a Canadian car chase, and it's these two cars that are in line and they're just spinning out on the ice. It was a cop car and a regular car, and they're just spinning out on ice. Yeah,
There's a wonderful Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah,
where, you've probably seen it. The cop is chasing somebody else, and the robbers stop at Dunkin' Donuts and run out of the car and get something, and then the cops stop behind them, and then the chase continues.
Yeah. Question number 10. Which fast food chain is closing its first ever restaurant after more than half a century in business? McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Burger King, or Wendy's?
I'm going to guess that it's Chick-fil-A, because I think McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's have been around long enough to close a lot of places.
No, I think it's their first ever restaurant, their original location.
Oh, it's not the first.
I don't think Chick-fil-A would close the Kathy House, the little short
place where they started.
Yeah.
Although if they ever do, guess who's celebrating?
Ken says Burger King, and he didn't Google it this time. All right, I'll go with Burger King. This is for a perfect score.
Oh,
Ken, fuck this. It's all right.
I think I got that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Chick-fil-A closed the original first ever. Yeah. Greenbrier Mall. Was that the original?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, malls are struggling.
I didn't think that was the original one, though. I thought there was like this little house in South Atlanta that had the. I thought that was the original one.
I wonder if though. So I know what you're talking about, because I know a little bit of the origin story, but I wonder if that was the restaurant before it became called Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, or it's the first standalone location. Like they have one at the mall, then they opened their first standalone.
Right. Incidentally, to go back on some of the things we talked about, the DMAs, the direct market designated marketing area, which is how you define like the television readers, stuff like that. In Florida, Miami is indeed bigger than Jacksonville. However, Miami is not the biggest DMA in Florida. The biggest DMA in Florida is Orlando, Dayton Beach, Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Because I mean that whole central corridor of Florida is just
It's pretty
packed.
big, right? But they're just one ahead. That's the 17th largest in the United States. Miami, Fort Lauderdale is number 18.
All right, 9
Sleeping
out of 10 this week. 9 out of 10.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
The and it's interesting that you read the question correctly and I read it incorrectly. It goes to show how tricky some of that shit can be, even though we are both
But you would have got it right though. See, you were saying Chick-fil-A.
right. Yep.
Well, yeah. See,
I gotta fix my screen here. Let's see.
all right. So in the news this week, watch your heads. The debt ceiling is coming. Since we've last had our show, they've shrunk the time to which we're about to hit the debt ceiling from 6 weeks to 3 weeks. Beginning of June is what they're targeting right now. At least that's what Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, is saying.
Dave,
What's your thought? Do you think we're going to have a debt ceiling hit?
does that mean you don't get paid?
That means I don't get paid.
That sucks.
And they could find my job that I am mandatory to show up. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know how I'll tell them to stuff themselves if they tell me I have to show up.
It's interesting. Fortunately, my wife is not going to work for the federal government anymore after the end of this week. Very excited. She took a new job.
Nice.
I was concerned. I was greatly concerned that her software was making the government too efficient. And so we had a long talk about it. So she's going to move somewhere else. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Do you think we hit the debt ceiling? Do they?
Oh yeah. No,
do they
I think this is going to be the one where we're going to hit it. And you're going to get to see a lot of the bullshit about it because there's a huge amount of bullshit. The government is not going to be out of money, right? Okay. Who here gets a paycheck? Raise your hand.
I got a paycheck. Yeah.
All right, I actually don't get a paycheck, but that money is still going to be taken out of your paycheck every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
The government has that money. So it's not like they have no money.
Well, not me.
What do you mean? Well, now not you, because
I won't be getting a paycheck.
Okay. But for everybody else, yeah,
I will keep the government running. I swear to God.
yeah.
No. So I mean, that's the problem is that they're going to do the things like they do every time there's government shutdown.
Yeah.
Which is they'll shut down the things that we like, which are like national parks and and Congress will still be meeting and they'll still be getting paid. But
What's interesting about it is that the last time there was a government shutdown, we did some good things. When I say we, I mean libertarians. The libertarians went out and organized cleanup national parks days, stuff like that. We did. It was a great example of showing there's all the stuff the government bills us for that we don't need. On the other hand, no, there's no other hand. I agree with Ken. I would like for us to default because, first of all, it's stupid that people are lending us money. Secondly, our spending is ridiculous.
oh yeah, so I had a friend post Biden's plan
$6
will
trillion.
reduce the deficit. Reduce the deficit by $3 trillion over 10 years. So I mean, that's when they talk about deficit spending, that means we're still piling on to the debt.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people think that, oh, they're reducing the deficit. We're not going to have as much debt as we. No, we're still in deficit spending.
Yeah.
We're still piling on. I mean, I think that Joe Biden does invoke the 14th Amendment and
Oh, I don't think so.
the Hail Mary.
I can't imagine a scenario in which he doesn't want to do that because for a bunch of different reasons, but not the least of which he'll definitely lose at this court.
Oh yeah, he'll lose in the court, but I think his hope is that during the meantime they are able to negotiate a actual settlement.
I can't imagine the Republicans not saying, yeah, we're not negotiating while you're doing this. I mean, it would be nice. I mean, here's the thing, right? The Republicans essentially want to cut the budget back to 2021 levels. I don't think 2021 was that bad.
You know, 2021, we were still
Government was
spending
spending like crazy. It
Yeah,
was COVID.
yeah.
So going back to that wouldn't be bad.
No,
Paying
and
off the debt, it just here's the simple thing about it, right? If the Democrats could agree to a balanced budget plan for 10 years, then they'd probably get anything they want. And we've done that before in the United States. From 1990 to 2000, the U.S. Congress agreed to a thing called PAYGO. And all right, what president am I imitating? Read my lips. No
George
new
Bush,
taxes.
the original,
Right,
the
George
OG
Bush.
Bush.
Herbert.
So George Bush, the original, made that campaign promise when he was running. But in 1992, he got an option, or actually 1990, he got an option to get the Democrats to sign this thing called PAYGO, which essentially was a balanced budget act. It said that they could not increase spending without having a tax in place that would pay for it. So for 10 years, the government had a balanced budget. And everybody says, oh, you know what? When Clinton left office, they were running a budget surplus. Well, no shit, because they were running a balanced budget. And that meant they kept paying down the debt, and it worked. And nobody looks back and thinks the 90s is a terrible time, except for the Florida Panthers. No, I'm just kidding. I can't think of any sports
No, they had a good. That was like the only time they went to the Stanley Cup.
till now.
'96. Yeah, that was this time. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't think of a good sports analogy off. Maybe nobody
Buffalo
hates
Bills.
New York. Yeah, Buffalo Bills is good. I was going to say New York Jets. But 90s wasn't a terrible time, and we had a balanced budget. If the Democrats would agree to that, they could probably get the rest of this stuff through.
I think they're gonna do something, and it's gonna be a kick the can until November of 24, and the debt ceiling is going to be a massive cloud hanging over the campaign,
The
a
internal
scare tactic.
the internal politics is really interesting, though, because remember that remember the fight over the speaker, right? This is that fight again, because those hardline Republicans are never going to vote for a budget. So
Yeah, they're never gonna vote for a budget. They're gonna have to end up
it's going to have to be something.
enough Republicans defect that will allow something to be voted on.
Enough Democrats defect, you mean?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, they're going to need Democrats to defect on a Republican majority plan, but I mean, the margin's so slim. If you get enough Republicans to defect,
Oh,
You
you
could.
could back the Democratic plan?
yeah, you could back the Democratic
That would
plan
be
too.
some crazy shit.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, all you need, I mean, depending on whether George Santos goes to jail in the next few days or not,
Yeah.
like, that's what, a 4-seat majority now. It could be a 3-seat majority. I mean, you only need a handful of Republicans to defect. You only need a handful of Democrats to defect the other way. I th- I think there is enough fear that if you do shut it down, or if you do default, then there will be lots of pain for everyone involved.
Well, so interestingly enough, list of House members, according to Ballotopedia, not running for re-election: 7 Democrats and 3 Republicans.
Yeah.
1 Republican is retiring, Victoria Spartz from Indiana 5, and 2 Republicans are running for Senate instead.
So
Name
you'll
one
probably
of them.
not get those. Well, one of them is my congressman.
Yes.
God,
What is his favorite thing to do when he sees people and he's driving past them in the car?
He just yeah. Alex Mooney.
Alex Mooney, exactly right.
Yeah, and well, I mean, not that anybody's ever seen him in district, so I mean, he's completely absentee.
Yeah.
Only getting voted in because he's an Uber Trumper and Yeah, people
Right.
love his mom.
So he's probably not going to vote for.
No, he's one of those hardcore.
Barbara Lee is not running for re-election. I didn't know that. It's
Well,
interesting.
she's like in the 90s, isn't she?
Yeah, it's true. Right.
And speaking
Goes with Dianne Feinstein's seat.
yeah, Jesus, Dianne
Boy,
Feinstein.
she's got to get out of there.
Like sometimes it's like watching a hockey game and the goalie is just goal after goal is going in, and it doesn't matter that like the defense sucks in front of them, but you have to do a mercy pull every once in a while, like just
I
pull them
can't
out.
believe that there aren't enough people around her who can tell her, look, it is time to go. I mean, like Nancy Pelosi should be doing that. However, Nancy Pelosi's not doing it because
She's like 3 weeks younger.
no, no. I think she is. I'm pretty sure Nancy Pelosi is 70 and Dianne Feinstein's like 90.
Oh, Nancy's in her 80s.
Is she? Dianne
Mhm.
Feinstein's really old, but she certainly looks a lot worse.
Oh yeah, she's going downhill. She
But-
probably will not make it to her reelection or to
Nancy Pelosi's elder daughter is Dianne Feinstein's senior aide and is being groomed for the seat. So if Feinstein stays on until the election, then Pelosi's daughter gets to run and get that seat. But if she doesn't, Newsom gets to appoint the new senator, and he will not appoint the Pelosi person.
Do you think he'll do a deal with the lieutenant governor and appoint himself?
I don't. I mean, as far as governorships go, governor of California is a pretty powerful position.
Yeah, but he's already got that box ticked. Like
He could run for president.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough to run for president from California as a Democrat because you get no boost. You're going to win California no matter what. But
it's like when the Cuomos were trying to run for president. Like,
right, man, you
Mario
are right.
Cuomo.
Pelosi is 83.
Yeah,
it's insane. Although she's not running, right? Or she's not in office. She's not speaker anymore.
Yeah, I don't think she's running next election.
Yeah, and I don't think she's running exactly. But I think she's not minority leader either this cycle.
No, she's not. It's Hakeem Jeffries,
right?
Minority leader.
Yeah. Dianne Feinstein is 89 years old.
Yeah, just a few weeks younger. It is Pelosi. Let's see. Hero officer that was in the Capitol riot was given awards for bravery during the Capitol riot. Has been arrested on charges of tipping off the Proud Boys during the Capitol riot.
Tipping off the crowd for what?
The Proud Boys. The leader of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio. Yeah, so
arrested or convicted?
Arrested. He's been charged in tipping off the Proud Boys. That's a very interesting thing because the Proud Boys were setting up to. They had weapons and stuff in a hotel room in Virginia. They were ready to move in and turn the from a violent clash of people breaking stuff to bringing in weapons to really enforce the Capitol riot into a more of an armed revolution. I guess I don't know what the nature of his tip-offs were, but honestly, if he kept Tarrio from coming to the Capitol with weapons, that actually might have been a good thing.
There's one of the weird things about it. There's a lot of prosecutions going on. There's a prosecution right now of a guy I know in Massachusetts who I believe that he was a bad actor. But he is claiming that he was invited into the Capitol and led on a respectful tour.
I've seen this one, the tour. Yeah,
exactly. Now, the thing about it is that there may be points of time at which some enterprising guard said, you know what, this is a riot going on, but I can offer to give these guys a tour and take them through non-sensitive areas. It doesn't mean that what was happening was okay.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't believe the people who are falling for that bullshit because it's a bunch of smart people.
Oh, I've seen the video where they try and make it look like the the QAnon shaman was being escorted. It was the one that Tucker Carlson put up on his
Exactly.
website.
So obviously that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. It goes to the idiocy that we have though now. What do you
well,
do?
yeah. I mean, it's everything is kind of this pitched battle between left and right, and
Left and right, and truth and fucking lies.
yeah, and we're just stuck in the middle of this stupidity,
Yeah.
and not sure which way to go. Because I mean, what that is. I mean, I think the biggest thing of what this generation will be remembered for, these last 10 years will be remembered for, is the death of truth.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
we don't know what is true anymore. How do we get out of it?
There's Sophie's Choice, which if you haven't seen the movie, recommend it. Definitely a tearjerker. But there's a line from Meryl Streep who says, "Stingo, I've told so many lies, I don't know what is truth anymore." And that's where we are as a country. We constantly lie to ourselves. And even the people who aren't liars can't figure out what the truth is because all the sources are biased. And the problem is everybody's done it. Every network has stretched the truth at some point.
Oh yeah,
And so,
to sell a narrative that politically they align with. Absolutely. I mean,
right,
I will never forgive MSNBC and CNN for inflating Trump
Mhm.
during the first 10 months of his run. Like, they
right,
put him
Mhm.
on all the time
right,
just to inflate him, to make him the front runner of the GOP, to benefit Hillary Clinton so that she would have a very easy run at the White House, which it didn't turn out to be. You just angered a bunch of people who don't know what the truth is anymore, and, you've been telling him that this guy is the leader of the Republican Party for 10 months, and people started believing it. He
right.
was saying stuff that made you guys angry, which made those people that out in the hinterland say, "He made those damn liberals in the East Coast angry."
Right. And there is a problem that was identified pretty well with the Tucker Carlson and
Exactly, Ken.
all the other people who talked about the fact that they know what their audience is. And if they say things that their audience doesn't like, they're going to lose ratings. So NPR doesn't tell the audience that, you know what? We did a story and they printed a story where it said economists say that corporate income tax should go. NPR doesn't run stories like that anymore because their membership doesn't want to hear that
Yep,
economists think corporate income. Fox is the same way.
yep.
They don't want to hear, they didn't want to run stories saying the election was not stolen because they didn't want to lose viewership to OAN or whatever the things are. And so it's just generally fucked. That's why the Fediverse is a better option. Now,
What
you
is it?
guys are saying, what is the Fediverse?
Yes, what is the Fediverse?
The Fediverse is all Federer, all the, no, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Fediverse is a model for distributed social networking. And the best example of it is Mastodon. So, people who aren't familiar with the way Mastodon works is that Mastodon looks a lot like Twitter, but instead of there being one server that hosts everything, I have a server that I belong to. I could host my own server. And if you wanted to follow me, you click subscribe and you just follow me off of my server. But it shows up in your feed and it looks like Twitter. But not everybody sees all the tweets that get out there. You only see the tweets that you subscribe to. And so now you don't have to worry about somebody lying or anything else. Instead of content being pushed to you, you're pulling all the content that you want. And then
So
there's go
I got
ahead.
a question about that.
Yep.
If you're on Mastodon, you're trying to get people to subscribe to your channel, is that called masturbating?
It is. It's yeah, it's a sin. Um it,
Very hands-on, though, very hands-on.
very hands-on, exactly right. But it is a incidentally, people who want to follow me, at fishdan@sdf.org is my Mastodon handle.
I think I'm following you. I
You
just
are
don't use
following me.
I don't
I
use Mastodon. That's the
I
problem.
haven't
I don't
posted
have
anything.
whatever that is.
It's you would like it, AJ. I will send you an
Amazing.
invite,
Okay.
and then I will send you a list. One of the things that's really nice is there are a couple sites out there that will subscribe you to. They'll take care of certain things for you. So I use press.coop, coop.press, and they have pretty much every media's Mastodon feed. And so
Oh,
you
nice.
go through and you figure what you want: WAPO, New York Times, Al Jazeera, those things. Add them all in. But AJ, I will send you a Mastodon invite.
Okay.
But I think the Fediverse news is going to have to go that way, where you're going to have to subscribe, and then what would happen is there has to be sort of a meta moderation of the news, where people are constantly rating the news for accuracy, including news stories. Like I still, if I sell this company, I'll go back to just doing dreamy stuff. And what I would like to do is there should be a plugin on in your browser that when you go to a website, it tells you if your friends have read this story and what people are rating it in terms of truthfulness, 1 through 5, something like that.
I mean, how do you? Because I mean, the thing that's killed things like Twitter and the other are bots. How would you prevent bot farms, you know, down rating or up rating a?
It would only be the people you add in, only your friends.
Okay, so how your friends see it?
Exactly.
All right.
Because because otherwise you're right. It's just going to be bullshit ratings and nobody will know what it is. But if you see how your friends rate it, I mean, that's still a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But, one of the things, and I bet that this is true for all of us, and probably for most of the listeners of the show. Certainly, I know it's true for Hody Johns. We're lucky enough in our social media lives to hold a position of trust with people who don't necessarily agree with us politically, because we tend to be honest and informative and open-minded, and we listen. So I think there are a lot of people who, if we could share a thing and they say, oh, I'd be interested in Dan's opinion, or tracking his media reads and things he says that are good, things he says are bad, something like that. I think there's some value to that in building communities out of that as well. I don't know, but that's the only thing I can think of that's going to save us, because everything else is fucking falling to shit. I was looking at the Boston Globe, which was my hometown paper for a long time. The Boston Globe's current subscription is 68,000 print copies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane, right? For the number 6 DMA in the United States.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Right. And 58,000 of those people are just reading the sports page.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, they're very specific interest page. Yeah, they're not getting the comics maybe.
Shoes on.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up for tonight. But I did want to tell everybody Tuesday night, if you're not doing anything, 7:30 on Vermin Supreme's channel. So not his Twitch channel, but his YouTube channel. It'll be on his Facebook. Uh, Vermin Supreme is going to run for president, but he doesn't know which party he wants to be a presidential candidate for. So he is interviewing leaders of many political parties to talk about why he should be a member of their party and run for president under that party's banner. So on Tuesday night, Vermin Supreme is going to be interviewing Angela McArdle, the head of the Libertarian National Committee, and asking her why he should run under the Libertarian banner. Talk about what's going on with the Libertarian Party.
Is this real?
This is real.
That's what I'm
Absolutely
saying.
real. So, one person on this live stream is actually producing it. So,
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's good, because I will tell you what, if it ends up being a thing like I thought it was going to be, is a picture of Angela McArdle and a moving mouth,
Yeah,
And
she said that she wants to do it.
she's
So
going to really do it. That
that's
She actually does
that's
it.
my understanding. That is how we're operating this
Can't imagine why.
broadcast with her. If you want to stick on after the show, I'll show you something I've done for it. So,
okay.
um,
Well, I just want to say that uh, I consider like it started to show up in my feed a little bit. I saw most of us know Desiree Lindsay
yes,
posting about it, and I can't believe it's true after all the stuff that Vermin's posted about the Libertarian Party.
I mean, I think at some point she may before this thing happens ghost it, but
Yeah,
she's agreed to do it. We've given her a date. She's agreed to it. So we'll see. We'll see
I
what
will tune in. I will be tuning in on Tuesday.
Tuesday night,
What
7:30 p.m. on
are you streaming it over YouTube, Facebook channels?
so
Vermin
YouTube, Facebook. It will not be on Twitch because Twitch has a deal with Vermin is monetized on Twitch, so you can't
So
broadcast that channel.
will it be the political deep dive
No,
broadcast?
it will not be a political deep dive. It's
Okay,
on Vermin. It's actually being done through StreamYard. So, and I'm on
gotcha.
Restream. So, but yeah, we'll have fun. And
All right. So where would I go to find out more information about this, to get a link, etc.?
head to Vermin Supreme's website.
Verminsupreme.com.
Yeah, I believe there's verminsupreme.com, and I think he already has
Yeah.
a presidential website going up now. And if you follow Vermin Supreme on Facebook, it's going to be on Facebook. If you follow him on YouTube, it's going to be on YouTube live 7:30. And of course, with YouTube and Facebook, after the show, it's still going to be up there live immediately following the show, so you can watch it if you miss it on Tuesday night. So,
All right.
like this show. But yeah, Vermin Supreme Super Tuesday. First interview with the LNC's leader, Angela McArdle.
Speaking of this show,
Yeah.
people should like, subscribe, press the bell,
Yes.
all that stuff.
All the
Guys,
fun
we
stuff.
really need you to help us out here. Okay, we are this close to being at 10,000 subscribers, which allows us to be monetized. So if you can subscribe, tell your friends, etc. And this close, this means 9,900.
It's a little bit wider, but thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, and to me, it's not about getting monetized. It's about reaching a larger audience and informing people about what's going on in the world, getting the information. If you were entertained by the show, other people will be. It's just getting it in front of their eyes. And the more people that do this stuff, that like, share, subscribe, click the bell, it gets that in front of more people. It tells Facebook, tells YouTube, tells all the other uh, places that we're broadcasting to that this is a worthy product and that more people should watch it.
Right. And so I think, go ahead, AJ. What were you saying?
Nothing. I was Wayne's World. We're not worthy, but sorry.
Well, and so I think
It's
it's nothing
late.
but for us to give a quick shout out to Janice McKenzie and Craig
Yes.
Violette, Ken
Yay.
Matz, Hody Johns, and Jasper Flair.
Yep.
Guys, thanks very
And
much for
Mr.
your
Dooley.
contribution during the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for
And
making
Mike
comments.
Dooley. Mike, what's up?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for making comments. This show would not be as entertaining if we didn't have the comments. I mean, especially Hody's comment about Maj Toure. That
It
was
killed us all.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and we will talk to everyone next week.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.